Good morning, guys. Okay, it's not morning anymore. Sunday, little lie-in, cup of tea, snuggle with my babies, and then do a little bit of work, hit the gym, about to take the dogs for a walk, which is the highlight of my day, because as you know, be more dog, simple life, break down the bullshit, get rid of it, define what's important and work on that. So we do a lot of work with mental health, and when we talk about hormonal balance, we talk about the need for a good ratio or a healthy ratio of dihydrotestosterone to estrogen to free testosterone, and working with the body and all these other things. And to achieve long-term physical and psychological health, you need to have hormonal balance. It's 100% true. But is it as simple as that? Obviously not. So there are lots of issues. My frustration with this current, let's talk about it, model that lots of people are subscribing to is, talking therapies, talking to your friends, community are all incredibly important. But they're missing a trick. What is that trick? Well, it's looking at causes. Shock, horror. We should be looking for a physical cause to your depression. Now, proving causation is extremely difficult because, as you can imagine, our bodies are incredibly complex. We have biological individuality. So what might affect me in a certain way may not affect you in the same way. We have a rather bizarre association between psychological health and an artificial, perverse modern world that we live in. Concrete jungles, artificial chemicals, toxins we either expose ourselves voluntarily to or involuntarily to, if that's the right phrase, involuntarily to. Again, I've said this before. I think we are so far removed from nature that our physical and psychological well-being is affected, and I think it's negatively affected. And I feel that the machine is seductive. It wants you to buy into this model of materialism, self-interest, self-worth. Self-worth? Of course we should have self-worth, but not at the expense of community. Not at the expense of your fellow individual. And I think our peculiar modern civilized in inverted commas model is bloody awful, quite frankly. Again, we talk about the need to address lifestyle, nutrition, exercise, and we've added in challenging ourselves. Wow, what a minefield. What's good for one person may not be good for somebody else. But there are fundamentals, there are principles, not rules, we've talked about that before, principles that we should be adhering to. And I think they are the key. So the traditional treatment for depression in the NHS is antidepressants, and the most likely antidepressant that you're going to be prescribed is a SSRI, a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. And if you're lucky, you will be offered CBT, possibly psychotherapy. But if you are not addressing the actual cause, what's that SSRI gonna do? Now, it's no secret that serotonin is the happiness chemical. So does that mean that's all we need to look at, and we need to flood our bodies with serotonin? So if we understand the principle behind hormonal balance, it means too much isn't good, too little isn't good. It needs to be just right. So if you've had a series of events, whether they be physical, whether they be psychological, or whether they be a mix of physical and psychological, which is always the case, because depression is caused by this, so cure this. Yeah, okay, fixed statements, we've spoken about this before. It's multifactorial, so we need to have a holistic approach to how we deal with depression and how we deal with health. Because again, we've spoken about this before. It's about the journey, not the destination. The destination's death. And that's gonna happen. Even with Dr. David Sinclair's progressive work and Rhonda Patrick, you're still gonna die at some stage. So you need to live in the moment. You need to appreciate the moment. And if something is wrong, rather than simply looking for a solution, a cure, sorry, did I get that mixed up? Like a plaster, we need to look at the fundamentals. And we go back to the same discussion. It always goes back to the same discussion. This should be sinking in. Lifestyle, nutrition, exercise, and challenging yourself. Removing yourself from the machine. Getting back to nature. Do you see depressed animals in nature? The answer is no, because they're bloody struggling to be alive. They are fighting. They're using their biology appropriately. Do you see depressed animals in captivity? Once we, humans, get involved, do you see depressed animals? Yes. Look at the zoo. Look at a zoo where we're all spectating at these wonderful, majestic animals, and we can justify zoos because there are breeding programs to get them back into the wild. Stop fucking destroying the wild. These animals that are pacing back and forwards, not eating, not mating because they are not in their natural environment. Are we in our natural environment? What do you reckon? Should we be in these concrete jungles? No. Sure, of course. The reality is you can't escape the game. So you do have to play the game. But you should make it work for you. And you should utilize the game to have access to what's important. What's important? Nature, community, doing right by others. If there's something wrong with your health, look at the foundations, because if you look simply for a cure to the end result of a catalogue of things that have happened to have you arrive at a certain destination, then ultimately you will not find a cure. That's the point. So the antidepressant discussion, they have a place. 100% they have a place, because you have low serotonin as a result of a cascade of things that have led you to this place. So then, if you do address these physical causes of depression, some can be minor, some can be major, but unless you address them all, then you won't see a sustainable change. Things creep back in. So once you are looking at this life as a whole, understanding the importance of a healthy lifestyle, nutrition, exercise, challenging yourself, understanding the importance of hormonal health and mental well-being, then talking therapies. Now, we've evolved to live in these communities. Our communication skills are incredible. So we should be using them for good, not harm. Surely. Rather than treading over each other, rather than creating xenophobic groups which seem to abound, because we live in this really nasty model. The model where you have to protect yourself from everybody else because everybody else is out to get you. You know, the media wants you to live in fear. It's a form of control. It is, isn't it? I mean, of course it is. Let's not fool ourselves. You know, whilst there are the crazy conspiracy theory guys, there's always an element of truth to these things. You know, stereotypes exist for a reason. We should never stereotype people because it's bad. But why do stereotypes exist? Because there's an element of truth. Now, again, you can look at all these things from a different perspective. He's trying to say this, he's trying to say that. No, all I'm trying to say is we need to have common sense. And common sense is lacking because we are lured. We're lured into quick fix solutions that ultimately are not sustainable. And God, it just drives me mad. So we need to work. We need to have a logical and methodical approach to how we tackle not only hormonal health, but depression, anxiety, depersonalization. All of these conditions are pathologies. But they're not. They're symptoms. Why are you depressed? Well, because I split up with my girlfriend. Okay, is that normal? Yeah, you know, you're gonna be down. There's gonna be something. There's loads of things that are just contributing to this bad mental state. Instead of reaching for a cure, look at the foundations. Look at your lifestyle, look at your nutrition, look at your exercise. Here at the Men's Health Clinic, we have to have a holistic approach to how we treat our guys. Because if I optimize their male hormones and they've still got crappy lifestyles, they still eat junk, they still don't bother doing X, Y, Z, then they will not see the benefits of testosterone replacement therapy, hormone replacement therapy. Because to not understand that it isn't simply about bang, one thing. Life is about everything, and that's what you've got to get in your heads. So, no, I'm not going to tell you what we're doing, but yeah, you can guess what we're going to be tackling next, and hopefully give you guys a logical and methodical approach to life. Have a good Sunday, guys.